Hi and welcome to the Mancave Projects DIY channel. So in this video I'm going to go through cutting sheet vinyl flooring onto external corners and into internal corners. So this video carries on from a video I did a couple of days ago with regard to cutting sheet vinyl flooring, especially safety flooring. Go and watch that video first. It's the latest video on the channel previous to this one. That explains some of the difficulties I've had cutting sheet vinyl and what I've done to rectify it. Same rules apply in this particular video to that one. I'm actually in our pet parrot's room in the house, so he's in the cage now. He can be quite noisy. I'm hoping he's as quiet as he was the other day when I did some filming. So basically today what I'm doing is sheet vinyl flooring, safety flooring, flat fit, so basically cutting in up to the skirting board or the wall. The other day just did a standard straight cut, and today I'm going to show my progress in cutting external corners and into internal corners. Right, so this is the form that I use to practice with. It's fastened down to the floor with double-sided tape, so it's nice and secure. Always wear a pair of gloves. So one is a level 5 cutting glove, which I wear on my left hand or non-dominant hand. The other one is just a standard work glove, but a nice thin one, so I've got quite a lot of feel. The level 5 cutting glove tends to be a bit thick. 2 knives, one with a hook blade, one with a concave blade, stair bolster, chisel and a heat gun. The vinyl that I'm going to be using for this is Polysafe standard from Polyflor. So this is a commercial grade safety flooring. I've already what they call blacked out the area, so that's already glued. The glue has cured, so it's now a clear or opaque appearance, nice and tacky. So this is all ready to go. So what I'm looking to do from this video is basically just show where I'm up to from a complete amateur or an apprentice point of view. Some of the things that techniques that I do to actually help me, because I'm not a professional fitter, don't have that experience or confidence, so I do a couple of things maybe slightly differently. And also this is a learning video for me as well, so if you're a professional fitter, you see something that's not quite right or some areas that I can improve on, by all means comment below the video, because I'm always willing to learn. Right, so normally on a site, from what I've seen, the vinyl is placed down without the blacking out process being done. So in other words, without the glue being laid, just a sort of a loose fit, and then most of the excess is taken off before the actual blacking out or gluing down, and then the trimming process goes ahead. You're gonna have to just ignore that because obviously this has already been glued out. So let's just pretend then that the vinyl is down on the job. The first thing I want to do is just to create some relief on this external corner. The way I do that is to add a little bit of heat, so I can actually fold this vinyl down and push it into the base of the wall here. What I found is if I try and do that without adding heat, the vinyl creases and marks. So we just want to get it a little bit supple, sort of along this area. That means it's nice and easy to work with. So pushing that down, I'm going to place the hook blade against this as far down as I can. Now obviously being an amateur or an apprentice, I'm very conscious not to go too far down the vinyl and then actually encroach on the actual flat fit surface. So I do tend to go a little bit high, but as long as I'm sort of on level with that, once the hook blade is in, because this will become this face here, and this might not be a true 90 degrees, this wall could actually be off. I want to add a little bit of excess material here so that when this gets folded in, it actually rides up this surface. So the first cut I'm going to do is actually almost at a 45-degree angle into this wall, or in other words, away from the actual corner. So I'm going to come out there, making sure that the tip of the blade doesn't come into contact with the finished surface. Once I've brought it in a couple of centimetres, I'm going to come down so that we make that cut, and then that can fold in. Because I haven't gone all the way to the bottom of the wall here, there's still a little bit of tension here, and when I've ignored that, it's become really difficult to fit and normally get a imperfection there. So I'm going to take the concave blade and just go down slightly, just so that that tension is now off this corner. Next thing I want to do is just to cut off some of this excess. So it's much easier to work with. So the easiest way I've found to work with the vinyl once it gets to this stage is to actually start cutting this down in stages rather than try and attempt to go for a full trim cut. That normally ends in tears if I try and do that, where I cut it too short. So I'm going to go into the vinyl, cut into the vinyl there. If I find that that's too difficult, either the blade is blunt, or if I have used heat, then this is too soft. I'll go maybe a centimetre into the vinyl there, cut it, and then go back and cut it that way. But because I've not used any heat, this is a sharp blade, this is quite easy. Next thing I want to do with the blade, I've got my whole hand under the knife, so I know it's not going to come down and potentially cut it short. But the other thing I want to do, and again if you watch the other video, you'll see how I'm really conscious about this tip not digging in to any of the surfaces. So I'm going to rotate the knife so that it's actually the back part of the blade that will run along the skirting or the wall, and then other hand on the back of the knife, guiding it so it doesn't go turn down and actually go into the potentially cut it short, and then just a nice easy run across, and that takes the first part off. Again, I'm not going too close to the base, so I don't think I need any heat at the moment. I'm just going to take another bit off, same process as before, just the hand's moving a bit further down the knife now because I'm obviously getting closer to the base. Turn it again so that the tip of the hook blade isn't coming into contact with the skirting or the wall, and another cut. And now the process for me would be to add a little bit of heat so that this radius becomes a lot tighter and the vinyl actually fits neater into the base. Take the stair bolster, just push that in. Again, this might not be the last cut that I do. Same as the video the other day, so I'm really conscious now that I'm not going to cut this short. So we're at an angle where thumb is against the wall. I'm going to rotate the knife a little bit to the vertical so that this tip doesn't come into contact with the floor or the skirting, and then just run that along, and all of the force is going to be against the actual wall. So that's a nice cut into there. Now I want to turn my attention to the internal corner. Right, so as an amateur, this is where I really struggle with this, especially with this thick type of flooring. Because what we have to do is try and find a point somewhere here and push that into the corner. Have to do that with heat. There's no way I can do that without heat. And what I'm looking to do is try and fold this in and create a point almost like that. So what I've done in the past and really struggled is I've thought that the point where this touches the intersection where this wall meets this wall was down here somewhere, and it's not, it's quite high up. The other thing I struggled with is making sure that this and this vinyl is flat against the wall. What was happening was it was sort of concertinaing up and not giving a true indication of where this point is into this wall. We find into there. Next thing I struggle with is a lot of the videos from the professional fitters, they'll take the hook knife, they'll go in to find the point, pull this out and cut it. I really struggle with the hook knife to get it into really tight spaces like that. So what I tend to do is get the concave, which has got the point which extends out, so it's a lot easier to get that into this point to try and find out where it is, and just make, so as I go in, just make a mark like that, and then pull this out and see the point at which, you probably won't be able to see it on the camera, but the point at which that concave blade has gone into the vinyl. Then take the hook knife, put it into the point, and just cut that out, and then cut out this way. So basically a V, and when I fold that back in, that's a lot tighter. It probably needs a little bit more trimming, but it's a lot tighter into there. If I'd have just done it with a hook blade, probably might have cut that a little bit short. So the next thing I'm going to do is take this part out, and that is a bit of heat. Stir bolster, get that radius nice and tight. In with the hook blade, and I'm coming in about 1 centimetre from the corner, as tight into that as I can. Rotate the knife up, push into the wall, basically just take that out. Can now take this vinyl out of the corner, and what I'm going to do now is just carry that cut on to the edge, and for that I'm going to use the concave blade. Just seems a lot easier for me to do that. Fold that back in. That's that cut sorted. And then we come to this, and this is the same as this side, So I'm going to trim it down 2 or 3 times. Again, as an amateur, the thing I struggle with is coming this way, being right-handed. So I'm going to make most of the cuts to about there and then swap it out to this side. So same principle, just going to cut, not trying to go for the complete trim in one go. So into the vinyl, we'll take the knife out, 2 hands, all of my hand under the knife to about that point. Turn the knife around. It's quite difficult with the camera being there. Let's see if I can do it. Concave again, a lot easier for me to use the concave in tight spaces like that. And again, I'm going to go for another trim, and then once I've done that, I'll show you obviously applying the heat, getting that tight radius, and then hopefully trimming it in without making too much of a mess. Right, so trimmed it down again, trying to find the best camera angle for this really. Going to apply some heat now. Again, as I said, I think I said in the other video that I did a couple of days ago, if the vinyl's riding all the way up the wall, you're trying to apply heat and get this radius as tight as possible, so you're as accurate as possible. With it having so much vinyl, it does tend to sort of pull away again. So trimming this down in stages seems to be, for me, the most accurate way. It might be the most time consuming, but just trimming bits off at a time instead of trying to go for a full cut straight away just seems to be the almost like the fail-safe way of being able to cut it accurately. So because I'm finding some resistance with the vinyl, I'm going to change the blade. Even though it's probably a new blade, it's probably only done about 3 cuts. And I've learned over time that even though I want to try and save the blades, it's a lot better, a lot less frustrating as well, and a lot more successful. If you feel any sort of resistance with the blade, then just change it, even if you've probably only changed it maybe a couple of minutes ago. So again, from the video the other day, the things I was doing wrong, getting the point of the hook buried into the floor, and the actual blade just going all over the place. So gripping the knife correctly, rotating it up more towards the vertical, not too much, so that the tip of the hook knife or the hook blade doesn't come into contact with the floor. Left hand steering the knife so it stays in that true plane, and all of the pressure going actually against the skirting or the wall. Drawing that back to there, and then turn it around, and this is where I really struggle as an amateur, coming back. I'll try and do it. Concave, take that last bit off, and then still a little bit that needs trimming off there, but again, I have tried in the past using a just the hook blade, and it's almost an impossibility for me to do that. I'll just take this last bit off. And that's it. So that's basically where I'm up to. Fairly accurate. Maybe there's a slight trim off there. This is not the best, but it's okay. I'm actually quite happy with that. More practice, obviously. I get that a lot better, but I've seen sites where this has been acceptable, this level of accuracy. So yeah, quite pleased with that. Right, so there you go, flat fit, sheet vinyl, flooring, internal and external corners. Still got a long way to go, but if you've seen the previous video, you'll see that now I've got the technique okay. I'm not digging the point of that hook blade into the substrate or the floor. It's become a lot better, not just because I'm getting more accurate, but the confidence has started to build. Still got a long way to go, obviously, and working on a form like this, it's nowhere near the same as site work. I don't have access to site work, unfortunately, but hopefully I might do in the future if I do take this up. One thing I'm really struggling with, but I'm getting better at it, is manipulating the thick vinyl into corners, getting that point correct so that it's a lot more accurate when I do find sort of where the point should be in the corner, bringing that out and cutting it, but I'm sure that'll come with practice. Please subscribe to the channel, and as usual, if you've enjoyed this particular video, hit the like button. Thank you very much for watching.